is where the fun begins.
Totally thought you were drinking out of a... Hello, welcome to the council. We begin tonight's meeting of the council by calling the council to order. Hello to everyone, and thank you for joining us. The council is a live Twitch talk show and podcast discussing Star Wars: The Old Republic. I'm Elise, and with me are my fellow council members, Redna.
It's true.
Magic Ace.
Hola.
And Sakari.
What's true? That's what I want to know.
That I'm here with you all.
Ah, yes, it is true indeed. Hello, everyone.
So tonight we're going to be talking about what everybody seems to be talking about in some shape or fashion, some component of 6.0, and we're going to be talking about gearing tonight. I'm sure we'll be hitting all the other various and sundry other pieces and parts to the new expansion, but tonight is...
How many are there? There's a lot of them.
Just a few.
Yes.
And after our live broadcast, you can find our recorded episodes everywhere podcasts are found, including our YouTube channel. We also have our Facebook, which is facebook.com/thecouncilSWTOR, and you can find us on Twitter, which is @thecouncilSWTOR. Also, we have thecouncilSWTOR.com, which is our website. You can find all of our awesome episodes there, as well as we have Patreon, which is patreon.com/thecouncilSWTOR, which is where you get all the juicy details for after the show, because we like to record it for you.
All right. Thank you, Magic. Appreciate it. So here we are, episode 80. We are climbing the numbers real decisively, I guess. We're hanging in there. All right. So it is the icebreaker question. Icebreaker is just a question that we ask to get the discussion going for the evening. The discussion this time, at least I get the feeling this is probably going to sweep us away, but let's dive into it anyway. And Redna, I have to ask your forgiveness. This is not the one that I put in the notes. I changed it up on you like within the last 5 minutes. So I'll ask you last so that you at least have some time to think about it. But I'd like to know from the council and also from our viewers in chat, and anyone watching on YouTube or whatever afterwards, by all means. Did you run any Dantooine event this week? And if so, how did it go? Elise, how about we start with you?
Okay, so I actually did this, y'all. There should be like lights and like...
I know, right? I think there's just
glitter bombs and stuff.
I was muted so you couldn't hear me clapping, but I was legit like going for it. I'm like, yeah.
I think there was stunned silence.
So Kirk dragged me through it.
It wasn't so stunned. It was more like, what do you want, a cookie?
Well, I really should get one. When's the last time I actually did it? It was in the first like week and a half of an event being released here of late.
Did you have to sub to do it?
What? No.
Nope.
You just have to be a level 20. So we kind of went back and forth, and we ended up doing it. So I'm playing, like as I said before, I'm doing my last story I haven't done on Starforge. But we actually ran it on SWTOR on my max tank. So,
and why is your tank named Max?
She's not named Max.
Mm-hmm. She's not a Max.
I thought you said your max tank.
As in max level or max gear?
Oh.
My max gear and level tank, actually. Well, maybe not gear, but whatever.
So all Elisa's characters' names are like not a girl, is a girl, not a boy. So it's probably something similar to that. I imagine in that vein, right? This
one actually I did before I started that nomenclature.
Oh, really? Wow. So we have a
theme. So this one is Buckeye Zia, I think, maybe. But anyway, I did it on Imp side, and I gotta be honest with you, I kind of grouched the whole time.
I'm not surprised.
Okay.
I'm not surprised.
I think Kirk was irritated with me at the end because Kirk is all about grinding, and so a new like grinding place is like yeah,
It's like,
grinding.
just
And I'm
shut up
just
and let
like,
me enjoy this.
I'm like, dude, this is like, I would much rather be doing CZ198, frankly, than the, what you call it. If there had been a story, I think I would have been more entertained.
Okay, so at
You
least
get
what did you find
a little
distasteful?
at the end. It just, the dailies are spread out all over the place in this area, and you have to run
Yes.
through other areas, other daily areas to get to the next one. They don't flow well from one to the next one to the next one. You got to do a lot of kind of like quick travel back over here to do this part. It just,
Yeah.
but I
Not
did
very
it on that
efficient.
character. No, truly not. I did it for the experience. Honestly, Gree is almost better the way it's set up, and that thing spread out very much so. But you can do some as you go. It just, it wasn't. Maybe it was slightly better than Ossus, but not that by that much. Anyway, I did it on this character because I had done Ossus on this character, so I got all the story bits, and there were a lot of story bits. I had to keep shushing Kirk so that I
Really?
could watch the cut stuff. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So, um,
So
it was
Did
okay.
the character that you did it on was a max character, but was it one that you were current on all of the
Yeah.
story elements?
Yeah.
It was. Okay.
The only one that I'm
so there
current-
was a little piece in there for you if you
Yeah.
were current on the story. Yeah, and
Correct.
they did say that in the I think in the live stream.
Right. And so like Kirk would be like, okay, where are you here? And I'm at blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I was missing one. And he's like, I don't understand why you're missing a weekly. And it was because I had the story quests. So, and he hadn't done any of that on the tune he was on Dantooine. So you don't have to do he had not done any of the Cotet or coffee on the character he was on. So he didn't have any of it.
Right.
So we had to get through that where he couldn't like port to here, didn't have the indication or whatever. So anyway, it was okay.
Yeah. So I got on my character and was like, ooh, apparently I haven't finished some story. I was like, I thought I was caught up on this. So I went in to do it, like expecting that I needed to just do some story to unlock the story that I was promised, or the little hint of it in this. And then realize, hold on, this is that story. So I was pleasantly surprised with it that I was actually completely caught up. I got a good old hit of nostalgia, especially walking out on the Imperial side of the Crystal Cave, which was really cool because that reminded me some things from KOTOR. And then there was the Dantooine music and the feeling of the fields. I was expecting cat hounds to just come out of nowhere and attack me. But
I was so disappointed there wasn't any.
There's no cat hounds. It's like, this place should be crawling with these things. They should be all over me. So there was no cat hounds. The one thing that was...
can I ask a question while you're talking? Yeah. Did you play it solo or with Willow?
I did both. I did it first. The first round I did on my own, and then the second round we paired up.
Okay, so that's probably why you got all that, because I was with Kurt and we were.
There's some social pressure, yeah. I think you can't be mindful.
I spacebarred some things, and we were talking, so like none of that stuff. I was turning down the music, and I was like, "Where do I need to go?" Blah blah blah. So
no, I think that
was probably better for you. Okay,
and yes, but I will tell you, I did find the competition with other players to be annoying. Like, it's when it's a new event and everybody's there and there's but I was like, oh my goodness, there's probably like 16 different instances and this one's got 30 people in it, and I can't, every time you run up to one of those little circles on the ground, you try to click it, but someone's already just been there first, and then so you're looking around for the next one, you get to find another one and somebody's been there first, and then I look and there was only 3 instances and one of them was depopulating, and that bothered me. I was like, no, not for day one of this. There should be a lot of instances, and I shouldn't have to be fighting over these objectives with people.
Now,
did you say only 3?
When I was playing, and it was not.
There were 7 when I was playing.
Yeah, but 7 instances, really? I mean, like you've got how many
more instances of anything I've ever seen in the game? Honestly.
Really?
Yeah.
How many people were per instance? Because
when we were doing Scare Bear, there was a lot more instances of Oricon.
Yes, and Oricon, needed instances. I agree. But that's the problem with these kind of area event type things, when you're doing all these daily areas things, is that the world is only so big and can only support X amount of people questing in them simultaneously. And I was annoyed that I was having to pretty much compete with everyone else, which is SWTOR. I mean, it's not.
Week 2, they Kirk and I were talking about it because he was like, "Oh, we gotta hurry up and go find these circles because people are like blah blah blah."
Things respawn.
Correct. So week 2, they changed the spawn rate. So
Good.
We did not have a problem finding the circles.
Yeah.
So.
Now, I didn't run it this week. I ran it once on my own, and then I ran it once with Willow, and we, and I was unable to play through the heroics the first time. The second time I did one round of them, but you need 4 heroics for the weekly, and there's only 3 heroics on the planet. So if you do all of them, then you have to basically wait to complete the weekly for the next time the event occurs, and that to me is a little bit bothersome.
That's sad because it cuts into your experience for the next time.
Yeah, and so exactly. You lose the week. So the next time you do it, you do pretty much just one heroic, unless there's maybe a 4th heroic and I just wasn't finding it. But I'm pretty sure I ran all of that content. So 3 heroics on the weekly, that would be I think a good ask. But I don't know, like I'm still unpacking it. I actually really enjoyed myself. The quests were pretty cool. I enjoyed the exploration. I was just expecting more cat hounds, and the other players and Anyway, I've said my piece. Who's next on our list? Magic, did you get to play this any?
I did. So I played it on 2 characters. I played it on a hardcore Imperial who's always been Imperial, and I played it on a SWTOR, which was actually pretty fun. That is honestly the only reason why I'm truly excited for any of the new content, is because I want to see all the different story angles. I want to know if it's different. I want all the things. And so, like, sorry, I'll turn that off. One of the things that I really enjoyed about it was when I walked out of the cave. The reason why I realized, I was like, oh, it's a cave, and I got excited, was because, Dantooine, you do missions in the crystal cave, and like you're supposed to be getting crystal stuff. So you walk out of Imperial base and you're like, oh, dude, I was in the cave. I was really disappointed though that there were not cat hounds, but there are like pens and stuff. Like you can see like troughs where it looks like they were like hurting some kind of animal. I was really hoping it was cat hounds. I was like, my RP-ness is saying, and yes, I know that sounds dirty. It's unintentional. I was thinking that had to be for cat hounds of some sort, like maybe they were sending them off world or whatever. So that satisfied me a little bit, but I was like legitimately hoping that there was gonna be cat hounds. I'm hoping that there's like an event at some point, like cat hound herding or something really stupid and funny.
Correct me if I'm wrong, the cat hounds are on the moon. It's only when they're in close proximity with one another that cat hounds will invade us, right?
Well, the reason why they were such a problem in KOTOR is because Juhani was driving them mad in the Dark Grove.
On Dantooine, yeah.
Yes, on Dantooine. But they were still supposed to be docile.
Yes, you're right. There was some dark side influence.
Right, but remember the Kinrath were also a thing. They were in the caves. Okay. Those were the ones that were vicious just because they were there. I was looking for those as well, and they were not there. So that was a little disappointing. However, I will say this. I was extremely happy that the dailies seem to like go in line with the story. It's not just like, here's the daily area. It's like each thing had a reason for it, and the reason you were doing it was different if you were a Imperial diehard, or if you're a SWTOR. Like, hey, while you're there, here's another mission we actually want you to do because you're the SWTOR and you're really on our side. Thanks.
Okay, so, that's like, cool.
Yeah, so
I didn't get to experience that because I haven't played it from every angle just yet, but that's good to hear.
That's really the only thing I really love about it, except for like I loved the trees. Like, I know when I got my upgraded computer, I had like a whole 2 months where every time I went into an area, I'm like, look at the grass, look at the trees, look at the flowers. But this time it's different.
It's a double rainbow.
Right?
There are 2 of them.
I'm like, look, these trees are gorgeous. Everything's beautiful. Like the skyline is fantastic. Like everything about it I liked. But the thing is, like right now I'm still hardcore grinding gear.
I like that because the sun was so low.
Yes, I like that too.
Like the shadows are long. I thought that was really cool.
Mm-hmm. But I'm still on a very hardcore grinding gear or like a gear grind because I have 2 kinds of DPS that I raid with, and I have Sin tanks that I raid with. I'm now tanking and DPSing in Nim as well. And then I have 3 kinds of healers. So I have gear out the wazoo to get. So I don't actually get to enjoy Dantooine. I've got to do it twice, and that's all I've got to do yet. I've not even gone back since those 2 characters because I am constantly doing other things. So it's actually kind of a little disappointing for me that there's not more that I can do from Dantooine that would actually get me gear. So that's actually a little disappointing for me because I've spent so much time farming components to get gear so I can get the crystals to get the gear, and then I go to Dantooine and I don't get any of that stuff. So I keep going back to Ossus.
They've already abandoned.
The gearing is tied into Ossus.
They've already abandoned the current curing system. Like it's like they're done, and they won't do anything.
Which is
with
funny
it
because I abandoned that system before they released it.
Me too.
I didn't have a choice.
Yeah, you're right. If you're Nightmare raiding, and especially if you're in, like, if you're doing anything other than Nightmare Gods from the Machine, 248 will do for you. But if that's Magic, you don't have a choice. I understand.
I'm sorry, I was quite proud of myself to have 230 gear.
230.
I just killed Skyva last night, and Skyva
took my crap and bought it. I was like,
you had to have it.
Yeah. No, I mean, like, I think for the experience, I might have been tempted to do like a 248 grind, but there was no way I was doing it on 2 characters. And when I actually saw how much work it took to do, I was like, this is a legacy killer here. Like, you have to focus on one character, get it all the way there, then we're focus on the next one, and I was done with that. So it will segue here soon into our discussion tonight about gearing. Ridna, any notes on this event? Did you get to play it all, or were you busy otherwise?
Yeah, let's see. My notes say, no, it was just like a normal Sunday. I don't really celebrate Father's Day.
All right. So how was your Father's Day then? I guess you get to answer the question I was going to ask.
No, I did play, and it went great. I was particularly happy when I took my character that had no gear and dove into a pile and then pulled a second group, and I died.
Yes.
It's the first time I've died in years. And it was stunning. Like, I actually sat there looking at my screen like, what happened to my companion? I thought my companion was full health. And I was like, I must not have healed it, topped him off. And then I was like, oh, wait.
This was
Didn't
the
I
heroics?
hear somewhere that they were supposed to be making this harder?
50. I had a level 50 Ashara who was DPSing and I was healing. I poured heals into her. I had to CC people again. I was like, I haven't used my CC in trash in literal years.
Yeah, like the heroics were actually group heroics. And you know what? I discovered how much I have enjoyed, or how much I was actually missing heroics, where you had to like get a group of people together and go do them as a group. Like that used to be awesome, and I've been missing it. So I'm glad they actually did that with it.
I'm glad you enjoyed that because I skipped those.
Did you?
I was not about to get in chat and start begging for people because I did not have time for that stuff. So I'm glad
there was a
you guys
couple
liked
heroic
it,
twos
but I
you
was
could
like,
probably have
you know
run.
what? I'm good. I'll only get half of the weekly, and I won't get that, and whatever. So no thanks.
No, that's fine. Like if you're just in it for the RPG aspect and not for the tough challenge type thing, I think.
You know, the irony though is that you guys were all excited because of the Crystal Caverns thing. That was actually the one thing that kind of pissed me off, because we don't have that experience in this game. You never actually get to go and find your crystal and, you know, do the whole like proper Jedi discovery sequence.
You
like
get them given to you. Here's get this war blade.
You either get them given to you, or else it's
old
looted
lightsaber
from a box on top of a hill before getting attacked by a lizard giant.
Well, I will say the pub side does have theirs slightly better, because you actually go to the forge and you build your saber. On the upside, they're like, here, take this and go to your ship. Go do some more missions.
Yeah, but it's still really annoying because, okay, at least they make you use the forge. That's cool. You know, I get it. Except you still don't discover your crystal. Like, and this is heavily in lore, not in both Legends and current canon, is that a Jedi is actually supposed to find the crystal that they are tuned to. Mm-hmm. And the fact that it's just like, oh, well, you know, there's like this war stuff going on and we're on this old planet. And so, you know, here you go. Here's the crystal. Go to the forge. That's all you really need.
I will say, though, that this game is set in a time of like war and like people are always in a rush. Everybody's got something to go to. Historically, the Jedi would meditate and they would spend their time. The Sith would fight to get it. They would literally fight each other for it. And so I think like that also should
Yeah,
matter.
it
Like
turns out that like during the Clone Wars and everything, there's this whole television series about the whole wartime experience and how the Jedi still have to go to the cavern and find the lights to right
That's
for
hilarious.
them.
Yeah,
know?
it's complicated.
There's also like there's this whole novel about this Ahsoka character and how she finds her replacement crystals by having to meditate and sense them like from systems away in order to go and properly reacquire lightsaber crystals. But I mean, yeah, I get your point. This is lazy writing in a war-torn universe.
It is.
So, speaking of a war-torn universe, we should get into the poll.
But of all the things that need to be fixed in this game, that tiny bit of lore is not what I want them to focus on, to be honest.
Fair enough. That is justified.
So Elise, would you like to walk us through the poll that we... by the way, everybody, let me make sure we echo this to chat. So the moment this is live, you can vote, pick the corresponding letter that corresponds with your answer, and by all means, definitely, we'd like to know what you think. So Elise, tell us what our options are, please.
Do you think the changes coming to gearing in SWTOR 6.0 will be good for the game? Yes. No. Neutral. And what changes? Those are your four choices.
Believe it or not, I did not make this survey, but man, those answers look just like mine.
Really? Usually yours are like A for always, B for barely.
Well, that's true. When I started trying to do that. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely would have been a better pick, I guess. So by all means, let us know, chat. Feel free to answer. We'd like to know what you thought of that question. Let's go around, do a little bit of and find out how we would have answered. Magic, can I start with you? So the question.
Sorry, 1 second. Yes. So I voted yes initially in the straw poll, but then just now I voted C for a very specific reason. I voted A originally because I was like, this system is kind of AIDS, blah, blah, blah. I have to farm components to get crystals, to get the crystals, to get gear, to swap up. Right. So like, I thought like, yeah, gear changes will be great. And then I started remembering like the amplifiers and crap. And I'm like, oh, like I'm all for customizing and stuff, but I already work my butt off for so many different classes of gear. And now it's like, there's some more crap for you to grind for. I'm just like, I know that grind is part of the thing, but I'm purely an in-game player now. While I was originally drawn here for a story, I'm purely in-game. I don't have time for that. Like, I'm already like annoyed. If the new content needs it, fine, I'll do it. But I don't want it, and I don't look forward to it. So I'm kind of neutral. I'm like, I don't really know now. So originally I voted A, but now I voted C. Now I'm just like, I don't know, because the person who has to get all the gear, me, says that sounds like AIDS.
Sounds like AIDS.
So I'm
no. You raise a good point, because what they assume is a lot of people's reason for playing the game is to get gear, right? It's to keep making your character stronger. So gear, as long as we put gear in front of them, they will keep playing because they want gear. But you don't get gear as the end within itself. It's the means to an end, which is playing very difficult content and beating it. That's what you're in it for. So gear is like, it gates your ability to get there.
Which is why it's annoying. Like, it doesn't matter what kind of terrible,
and that's
horrible, stupid loops that they give me to jump through. I have to do it because I want to kill the content. I still haven't killed Isaac yet, and it's a rush to kill Isaacs before 6.0 comes out because I don't want to kill it after it's nerfed.
Yeah.
Well, because then they're going to nerf it. It'll be different. It won't be the same. And so, like, we're trying to kill it right now. We just killed Skyva last night. So this week starts Isaac's, and we are trying to like add in 3 or 4.
You're going to be working tonight. You're going to be playing late tonight, aren't you? Before server reset.
Before reset, yeah.
Yeah, so, no kidding. I can understand.
And I have a different raid at 10 that ends at 12. So that's where I'm DPSing. So yes, like I have gear for so many different characters. I have 4 different legacy sets that I have to swap between, but I still have to get all the left sides. So I will say, if they do actually make legacy left sides, I won't complain about gearing as much. I absolutely won't, because I'll be like, sweet, I can share the same 2 relics between 90% of my characters. Heals and DPS. Please and thank you. That's how I...
Thank you.
Now,
Well, that's what you assume, but people have been complaining about the fact that there are only 2 relics that anybody uses that raids on the forums to
If it's legacy bound,
Moscow.
I hope they shut up. I hope they shut up, because I have 258.
Literally everything is legacy bound now.
I have 258. Well, not like it's not actually legacy bound yet, but I have 258 relics of Focus Retribution and Serendipitous Assault. And technically, a lot of tanks use that too, but I'm new to tanking, and I like feeling the extra like cooldown and not being as squishy, so I still use shield amplification.
I do too. I do too, and I get criticized by everybody who knows more about tanking than me, but I like them, so leave me alone.
Well, I told them, I was like, I did get a second set. I did get a DPS set, and I took the power mods out and put them in because I needed to drop defense and add in power to make my stats balance. So I did do that, but I did keep my relics. And they're like, well, you don't really have to. I'm like, I understand that, but I'm still learning what attacks work with what DCDs. So for me, I need that extra like.
Well, what happens is that you keep the.
All I heard was excuse. I really just don't trust my healer, so I need another defensive.
Listen, I've only tanked 2 operations in NIM currently at the moment. I'm still learning. I built a group literally for me to learn tanking, and I built a group literally for me to learn DPS. I have a melee DPS and a ranged DPS that I'm working on. So I'm doing my thing, okay? It's not that I don't trust them. It's that I'm learning a lot all at once, and I get things a little confused sometimes.
Tanking is not easy. Like if anyone thinks tanking, especially the more complicated content, not easy. Like there's a
now I should put a disclaimer out there for anybody that's new to the show or doesn't remember a lot of Magic's history. She is not deeply entrenched in all various forms of MMOs and other games. This is her initiation to MMOs, and this is her bread and butter, and it's one of the reasons we love her. But the standard process for every expansion in any MMO is you add 5 levels and all your gears reset. So the fact that you're going to have to grind out new gear is unfortunately par for the course.
Yeah, it's true.
It's just annoying since I have so many different sets that I have to get.
Yeah, I understand that. The advantage is I think you might actually be a little bit more positive on this once we get into it, because the process of at least replacing that gear is going to be a heck of a lot faster than this asinine system that they're running right
now. If that's the case, then I won't complain. Sorry, Elise, go ahead.
No. It's just one last thing, though. That's what it's always been. But did you guys hear, just as an aside, that might blaze a new trail, is that WoW is taking away, the rumor is WoW is taking away levels. So, and they're going to end up readjusting all of their stats. So,
not what I heard. I heard it was because of Classic WoW coming out and like people wanting to go back to Classic WoW, that they're actually not going to be adding any more levels, is what I heard. Not that they're taking them away. But...
No, there's the what I keep hearing, and especially from WoW sanctioned streamers, is squish.
Right. So
that's
let me just say,
not adding. That's taking away.
Right. So let me just say, in my mind, this is something I've been putting out there. I didn't know that had anything to do with World of Warcraft. But when I look at this game, levels are meaningless for all intents and purposes now. Because when you've got bolster and you've got level sync, so all of your when you're forced into groups to play with one another, you're all bolstered to the same level, and then you're out roaming around the worlds and you're being level synced, regardless of whatever level you are. Like there really is zero purpose to actual levels. It is simply just a carrot that is a legacy system that, if done right, that makes absolute sense to me.
Yeah,
legitimate.
That's kind of like Guild Wars. You get your levels like right in the very first few minutes of the game for the most part, like first few hours, and then for the rest of it, you're just max level for the vast majority of the rest of it. It's very clever that way, because then they make it irrelevant.
Well, and if you think about the recent,
I thought I put that out there. I wasn't trying to lead us off the beaten path.
No, that's cool because that even in this game, the most recent ones with Coffee and Kotet, I always said that the decision to increase levels was idiotic because it wasn't actually a genuine expansion. But beyond that too, it was like you played 2 or 3 chapters and you were max level, and then you just played through the rest of the story. So
Redna, what was your answer to this question, like that we're talking about? What do you think about do you approve basically of SWTOR 6.0's gearing system
Let's put it this way. I put yes because anything other than the implementation of the command system that they did or whatever it's called, CXP, like freaking,
Okay.
that is the only way that you could actually make changes to a system that is a bad idea. Any other changes I'm totally cool with. It's new stuff, it's new things to learn, it's
Anything
new
but
content.
that, basically.
In a certain way, it's new content, it's new materials, it's new gear. Like, I'm fine with that. I'm totally down with that. The idiotic move that they made with CXP was that they removed everything that worked and implemented a single system that was the most, you want to complain about grinding, the most painful grind of any game I've ever played. I hear that JRPGs, that's kind of what they're like, but I mean, I did, from a concept standpoint, the addition of CXP was a great idea. The exclusion of everything that already existed was a horrible idea.
Yeah,
like
it would have been a good additive system as opposed
to
like
if they had maintained what existed, adjusted for the fact that they were adding 5 levels, and also added CXP so that literally anybody could get gear just playing however they wanted. But the way that you normally get gear by playing the content you want to and getting gear for that content should have remained.
Yeah.
So, and it sounds like they're really going back to that, and then they're getting a little creative. I know we've talked offline about the fact that, and we'll get into it in the deliberation, this looks like it's a system kind of pulled from other genres, but I'm okay with that. I don't mind playing with new things. This is the good kind of change because it's interesting.
Yeah. Now, Elise, what about you? Are you excited for the coming changes, or what is your thoughts?
I'm neutral.
It doesn't matter to you, actually.
It's not 100% that. I mean, when I was actually doing group content, I rolled on drops and stuff, and back when I was leveling characters through PvP, I was all about the PvP set. I would actually, hoard all those crystals, whatever. We talked about that. I really enjoyed that because that set was pretty much good for me. I just wanted the set bonus. So I like set bonuses.
You're gonna get your fill.
Correct. So I don't I still have my
set bonuses are important.
They're gonna be like Diablo 3 basically, or Diablo's sets, but we'll get
and
there.
even though I don't do rating or anything like that, I still like my set bonuses. It just makes me happy.
Yes.
But cool. I still wear my 216 gear if I don't have anything better on tunes even now, because I want my set bonus. So,
exactly. Yeah, I would agree with you. If I haven't played a character for 4 years and there's been 6 levels, I'm going to keep my freaking set bonus all the way through that leveling experience until I've got something to replace it. Because the set bonus feels good.
Yeah. So I'm happy about that there's going to be multiple. I really don't like the way this game has done gear and set bonuses and all that stuff up to this point, because it really has only been for raiding people. Or for PvP people. And set bonuses can be pretty cool. I mean, in ESO, there's pretty much all the gear in that game has a set bonus of some kind. Some of them make you stealth better. So that if you wanted to be this master thief, if you want to role play as a master thief, there's some sets in ESO that it'll make you have invisibility for longer, or harder to detect, or you can pickpocket people better. There's all these different variations. That variety, I think, solves that kind of, why do people who don't raid need set bonus gear argument that we have had the entire time I've been playing this game. And I'm sure even before I got here and WoW and everything else. So that I applaud them for. But I don't know how they're going to do this. And if we get into a mess with we had with CXP, I'm going to be pissed.
Right. Yes.
So
they put systems in place, and then they have to basically
undo them.
If there is any
form of CXP system, I'm going to be... They say they're abandoning it. They need to abandon it.
Not they are, but they're not.
But we were told this was going to be puppies and rainbows with the CXP thing. It was going to be better than what we had before. And I was happy with what we had before. Mm-hmm. So then when all of a sudden we went to that,
I know.
Just completely
better was objectively the worst system I've ever played in any.
Yes, it was way back. It was right back to 1.0 PvP gearing.
Yeah, so I'm going to be neutral. I'm hopeful that it will be better. I mean, it's really not that bad now. They've basically done, Redna, what you wanted with CXP. CXP you have now drops from whatever you're playing. Plus, if you don't get it there, then you can get stuff in CXP. So really, at this moment
So they
in
haven't
time,
abandoned CXP.
Well, we'll get there.
just
Give us a
at
second.
this moment in time.
Yes, right
I'm not
now.
talking about what happens
Not
in
when the expansion
6.0.
comes out.
Not
Yeah,
by
but-
September.
Correct. So you have CXP and you have the old system basically exists now.
Yeah.
For all intents and
It's
purposes.
a supplementary system right now. Like,
No,
it's
I
not
understand.
the main
That's the
system.
thing. They started rolling things back in, but for all intents and purposes, they still have zero solution for PvP. So no, it's not remotely the system that we
You're
had before.
correct. I mean, you are correct from that point of view, but that's a whole other
I do appreciate that there was a way for operations members to get gear by playing operations content, but the
right.
stepson system of the PvP system is honestly offensive to one of the most vibrant communities that actually does stick around in this game.
Yeah. All right. So before we get bogged down too much more, because we've got a lot more coming, I just wanted to say that the results of the poll, we had 8 A's, so 8 yes, 1 for no, 1 for neutral, and 0 for what changes. So by and large, our chat is very much enthusiastic about the coming 6.0 gear changes. So Elise, would you like to walk us through the general community poll results?
So the community voted 224 votes. Number 1 was yes with 55% or 124 votes. Number 2 was neutral with 20% of the votes, or excuse me, 20% of the votes, or that, which is 45. No was third with 16% or 35 votes. And what changes was last with 9% or 20 votes.
10% of the people taking the poll hadn't heard of this at all. That's interesting to me. So chat, I think...
Okay, while that might be true, the other side of that is that there are people that are snarky like me who are just like, oh, what changes?
Yeah.
Even though they
That's
might
true.
actually have it.
That's probably overrepresented, yeah.
And it would not surprise me if about 10% of the people were just like, hey, I'm going to click what changes.
and that, ladies and gentlemen, beings, is why I limit by IP address who can vote in the thing, you know, like, because if they get enough of that, it just ruins the whole poll. So that's true. But I think it's notable. I think both the community and our chat, I think everybody's kind of optimistic about what's coming. I like that it was like
the community,
the neutrals of the community that voted. But okay, so that's everybody who is invested or is in the Twitter community or follows us on Facebook. However I could get information out there, I did. So I mean, I think we're excited. I think this is a good place to be, so long as we're not let down. You know, when this thing comes out, it's going to happen in September. So.
But see, if you have a healthy skepticism already, then you're not really let down because your standards were so incredibly low. You're just like, meh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sounds bad, but that's how I'm here for so long, okay? I've been here since free-to-play launched. It's been a while.
So, would you guys be okay with me, like, bringing up a slide or two? I think this is imperative that we show out here to get the word out for anybody.
On you doing so.
For anyone that watches. Okay, so I'm going to just do like an epic, quick, fast recap. In all honesty, there's a lot of points that were a little bit confusing to me. So if anybody is around in chat that can clarify on some things, by all means put it in there, and we'll make sure to state it in the show so that we have good information out there. So what they are talking about now is what they call the spoils of war philosophy. Basically, and there's some bullet points at the head that kind of describes what that is. They've learned some terrible lessons about how bad the systems were with Galactic Command, with OSIS, etc. OSIS was too hard. Galactic Command was admittedly a disaster that ended up supplemental. So they've learned some things, and they're trying to do better, you know, this time around. They want to incentivize
they don't
people.
Learn anything. They repeat the same mistakes every 2 or 3 years.
Right. Yeah, it is a little bit
cycle.
Cyclical, I guess.
They're like, well, we learned, we did that, so this time we're giving you this, and then we're like, really? Are you sure?
Right.
Did you learn though?
Yeah. So they want to, but they do want to incentivize everyone. Play your way. They want to bring basically out there killing stuff back in. So gear will drop from enemies. They're wanting to keep Galactic Command as a supplementary system, but they're going to re-roll it in a way. protect people from some of the nastiness of RNG, and then of course embracing legacy items, which maybe if somebody can clarify for me would be helpful. What does it mean to embrace legacy items? I don't know.
As in, like, giving us like the benefits of actually getting to use it, and not like, I don't know, gating behind certain things to get.
Yeah,
legacy
I mean, like, well,
giving us legacy left side, because some of us
yes,
really could use that.
That is true.
We are getting legacy left side.
Legacy left side is coming, which I'm like, I can't be happier about. I think it's way overdue on that. So.
Dude, well, and the best part is because they put in those stupid slot-bound mods and enhancements.
Oh my gosh!
Right?
So
and then they realized, oh, people don't like that. Yeah, morons. That's why we had you release the armorings with set bonuses on them in the first place. You know, the first year the game came out. Which is why I say they don't learn anything. So yeah, but I'm at least glad to see, oh, so we finally decided 8 years later, we'll just lean into it and make everything legacy. About effing time.
Right? Seriously, I have to craft.
I think it's Keith.
So
I'm thankful
stuff.
to Keith.
Okay.
At least you're muted.
Yeah, well, obviously it's not Charles or Musco. They've both been around this whole time.
Yeah, they have.
Sorry, thank you for reminding me I was muted. So I think there's multiple, the legacy means multiple things here. Number one, they said that they're like, I think it's supposed to be legacy, like everything or the majority of the gear should be legacy, if I remember correctly. Yes.
Correct.
And then also someone asked like for this stuff that we have now, since they're getting rid of dark versus light, which I imagine we'll be talking about later on, but there's armor sets with that. And I believe they're keeping vendors so that people aren't locked out of sets either that were RNG bound, like dark versus light sets and blah, blah, blah. I think they're going to do a vendor for that too. So they're going to be attempting to allow people to get old legacy bound stuff as well if they so choose. So it's future and past gear, I believe the legacy kind of term.
Yeah.
Them embracing legacy items, I believe, is referring to both those things.
So some clarification.
I can't see anything bad for that so far.
Yeah, we mentioned set bonuses a minute. Yeah, we mentioned set bonuses a minute ago. Set bonuses, it's basic, and like it's going to be like Diablo 2. So instead of like the full 6-piece set bonus, now there's different sets out there, and they're of different sizes. Some of them apply to like the base class. So it's something like, for instance, both of the advanced classes can use. It will actually apply to both of them. But then various different sizes, which I think is really cool, is that, you know, you may have this set has, you know, 3 pieces in order to get its full bonus. And you know, like, for instance, if you have, like, how many pieces are you wearing? Like 7 on the actual main set, right? So, is it 7? 6. Well, let's just say it's 6, right? If you have a 4-piece set bonus, you can get a 2-piece set bonus.
Yes.
Yeah, and so you can mix and match your set bonuses to kind of customize your own gear style, which I think is cool. I like variety, so I like
many people used to do with the different PvP and PvE set bonuses.
Yeah. We're like, hybridization, right? I think a little bit of that's coming back now through the game. So,
or it was fun when sometimes they would release a new expansion and add 5 levels and say, here's the sets. They're the same set bonuses before, but it turned out that internally it didn't count as the same set. So you could actually get, like, say your first set bonus was, oh, your dots do 50% more damage. All of a sudden your dots are doing 100% more damage because you give up your 6-piece set bonus and double up on your 2-piece set bonus. There's a lot of fun stuff that you can do with that. Actually. Yeah.
So I'm very interested. Actually, I'm intrigued. I think their execution of this is what's going to make it awesome or not. Like if they bomb it, you know, which is entirely possible.
Again, my neutral stance.
Right. Yeah, I think Elise's distrust that kind of overwhelms your answer. So, but there's a new thing called tacticals, and it's a new set. It's a new slot in the gear, and I don't really. Apparently, it's going to be epic rare, like right from the beginning. There isn't going to be much of it out there, but I imagine that over time they'll release more and more of it. But it's, you know, it pertains more to disciplines, advanced classes, etc. And I think that is where you're really going to get the. I think the tacticals are what's going to influence your play style the most. So it may be something that like gives you. I mean, I'm probably gonna mess it up if I try to make some guesses, but it's going to have like a big impact on. Hey, I'm a lightning sork and you're a lightning sork, but we're very different in some ways because of this tactical piece that you have.
One way, because of this one tactical item that you have.
Well,
I'm actually okay with them restricting it to one thing, though.
Well, we don't know quite how extensive that one thing. What are the ripples going to be? What all does it affect? I think that's going to matter.
Oh, sure. Unintended consequences is what's going to make this entire system fun.
Yeah, it's probably going to make some class balancing an issue for a while. I can see that coming back.
Oh, exactly, because that's what they're doing. They're effectively reintroducing like talent trees across all these new set bonuses and new tactical.
Yeah, it's just gear based instead of skill tree based.
That's why I'm surprised Magic Ace wasn't more excited, because there's actually going to be ways that you can craft your character to be distinct from other people with the exact same advantage.
Not in the raiding community, though. They're still going to best in slot.
The reason why I'm skeptical. The reason why I'm skeptical, though, is because balancing has always been an issue in this game. Like,
I know, but I like broken balance where I can really,
But I'm also a PvPer, so like PvE wise, I'm like, yo, this is fantastic.
Gear doesn't even matter in PvP anymore.
Right, but what I'm saying is, like, as a PvEer, I'm like, yo, that sounds fantastic. I would love to have, like, an advantage so that people specifically want me because I go a certain way, whereas, like, half the people they know go this way, and they're like, oh, well, she would be better suited for that. However, because I'm gun shy, due to my PvP-ness, I know. That sounds
really
wasn't
a bad feeling too much.
Blaze says that all the time. We're not blazing a trail.
I know. That's why I said it's intentional. Anyways, because of this background as well, because I spent 2 years on Shadowlands PvPing Merc Hills when it was God tier heals. I know the issues and struggles they've had with balancing, and so for me, I'm like, okay, so let's say gear doesn't matter for PvP. Still, you're gonna have some classes that are so like incredibly like OP that you're gonna have people crying and screaming about it again. So then they're gonna have to try to refix it, and then they're gonna screw things up for PvE because they're trying to fix things for PvP. That's how it's always been, and I don't see that changing with this gear set, to be honest.
Well, they could, again, there are instances where they could make it so that there is such a Wild West in PvP that you could make all kinds of different, like sets that there is no best in slot per se.
I wish they would blast that away.
That is exactly
totally
how I
approve
hate
of
to keep
that.
bringing that game in here, but ESO, that's exactly what it is. You have all these videos that talk about best in slot for PvE, but for PvP, it is totally the Wild West, and that your play style and how you build your character has to do with that. So, like,
Overwatch
it's generally always been the case, even in this game, though. There are preferences, even for discipline points and stuff, that do actually craft and impact differently depending on how you actually play your character.
And that might be, but here's the difference, and this is the piece that concerns me a lot, is that this community is incredibly bound by what the experts put up and say in Twitter and guides and all that stuff. And so, and then you get people out here and people come out and say, I'm going to do it. No, you can't do that. You have to have blah, 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 blah. In ESO, because it's such a Wild West, like all those same kind of people say, well, this is what we do in PvE, but for PvP, you can do, and then like we can't even say all the ways you can build your character because it's so different.
Right.
That is what I'm concerned about.
Yeah.
This system is supposed to blow everything up and make everybody be able to try anything. But you're always going to get these people that come in and say, oh, but best in slot is blah, 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 blah. And then that's what everybody wants to follow, is what is best in slot.
Yeah.
And this game
and
does
you get
not
trashed.
That.
In the NIM community, you get trashed if you don't go by what like the experts have put up. Because like I'm really good friends.
The irony being that the experts haven't actually been playing the game since most of it's been rebalanced.
Right. They haven't played since 4.0 dropped.
You're only saying specific people. Like they're specific people, sure, but like the guy who wrote the Lightning Guide, like I raid with him all the time. He helped me kill Skyva last night. Like I raid with some of these people a lot. And so like I do something.
So he belittles you if you don't do it his way?
He doesn't belittle me. He goes, Magic, stop that. And I'm like, he'll watch my lightning rotation for SWTOR because he wrote the guide.
Okay. I think
and he'll say,
belittle
he's like,
is
okay,
probably
well, you're delaying
overstated.
Crushing Darkness a little too much. Like, okay, like, what about Flash? Like, you should put that in a little faster. Like, I do it a little slightly different. And two SWTORs told me that that's not necessarily the optimized way, but two SWTORs are like, well, if that's how you play it better and you're going to put out the same numbers, then it doesn't truly matter. I'm like, okay, cool. But yes, there are people like they will ostracise you. They're like, well, you're rotation.
Yeah, there's a lot of those people.
Elitists.
Like,
They're called arrogant, self-absorbed bastards.
Well,
I generally put them on mute.
Red, this is the saltiest I've seen Red in a long time.
I will say though that some of them really genuinely take the time to learn the things of this game. They know how the game works. They know how the classes work.
It's true.
So
okay,
you have to respect some of it. You do have to.
No,
because,
Magic,
like,
you're
they know
right.
things that you don't know.
You're right,
They
but the problem, see, the difference. So what matters here though is if you're okay with that kind of restrictiveness on your who you are and what you want to do with the game, la la la. If you're cool with it, like getting the most optimal, most best in slot, how do I output the absolute best DPS ever, and you're okay with whatever restrictions you need to have on yourself to get there, then by all means go for it. But if you like freedom and the ability to breathe and play your own way, and kind of want to dabble in some of that, that's the rub right there, I think.
Well, actually, so what this really boils down to, and I think that both Elise and Magic can agree with this, which is at the end of the day, fine, if there's a perfect optimal way to play, and that's the way that you're going to have to be doing it to do nightmare content, so be it. You know, anybody that wants to do that content is going to do exactly that, right? But what I'd like to see, and I think this is what Elise is touching on, and I'm seeing the chat room saying, which is, honestly, who cares about being competitive about it that way when all I want to do is go out and play, and I'd like to have a variety of ways to be able to play it and do it the way that I want to. And even if they implement it badly,
this is why I stop at veteran mode.
Others doing the min-max stuff. You're going out and playing the way you want to, and you can do whatever the hell you want in that way. And I just like to see that there are actually these options being put in. Yeah. That's cool.
So speaking of options we're putting in, there's one more I have to throw in. Amplifiers, they're coming too. I don't know what amplifiers are, but apparently they're bonus stats that appear on shells, armorings. Shells, interesting. Armorings, hilts, barrels, mods, enhancements. So basically everything we're used to having stats on, it's going to have stats on it. But there's some added stats that are also going to be on the shells. And some examples are things like armor penetration, increased healing received, better harvesting results, increased periodic damage. So I think this is really where we're going to see customization for you and your individual play style, where you actually get your, I mean, if you're a harvester, if you really are playing this game because you like being out there gathering nodes, you know, around the worlds, then by all means max your amplifiers out to, you know, really help you out there and go after it. So I think that's cool. You know, I think we're going in a good direction here.
I think so. A good direction, but that doesn't mean I'm 100% like, oh, we can do this.
I like this on paper. How about we say that? I like this on paper. Let's see how we do when push comes to shove, and we actually. And this is why, by the way, to make sure everybody knows, get on the PTS because they want to put this out there and let people and tell them what you think of it, because we are stuck with what we get. We get what we're in and are stuck with it because we had a shot at it and didn't tell them we wanted something else.
Well, so what I see then, my initial gut reaction just by reading through this slide is, oh, this sounds like exactly what they added when they first put in augments. And they said regular PvE balance targets won't be centered around augments. And now if you don't have min-max augments, you can't do endgame content. So it sounds like they're redoing it again. This looks like another cyclical, you know, oh, we still haven't learned anything.
Oh, we'll see.
We just added a new slot.
I've been trying to be a little bit more charitable. Yeah.
You know, rather than being able to craft and customize it, you have to go and deal with some random drop being established on your shells, armorings, hilts, barrels, whenever that.
Well, but to speak to that, further on, if you look at further down in the slides, when they said, remember earlier, that they were going to attempt to minimize RNG.
Which one are you talking about?
RNG protection on set and tactical items was earlier, right? In the plays you want. They're going to have the two new vendors, and one of them is going to have a changing selection of specific set items and tacticals for all classes.
Yes, that is, and that's well worth mentioning, because that while we do see that this is built in with a lot of RNG, they are also putting these things in, like you say. that allow you to, just to further go in depth, that they allow you to take an item, and if it doesn't have the amplifier you want, or whatever statistic or set bonus. Actually, I think that was another example, because the set bonuses are on the shells or on the armoring. You can actually basically put it into this vendor or this machine or whatever and re-roll. If you didn't get what you wanted, you can re-roll it. I'm sure there's some currency
and
tied
it
into
resets after a while, so it goes back to 1, and then you re-roll, until ultimately at the end you've optimized the way you want.
Right.
This is taking like
nice thing, because at the end of the day, okay, it's a big hassle rigmarole, but it does really bring down that RNG.
This is totally Diablo gearing, is how I feel about this. This is Diablo gearing,
I mean,
it drops off of stuff. The harder content has the better drops. You can re-roll it from the vendors, until you get the piece you want. That's how it feels. The set bonuses are all over the place. This to me feels like Diablo. I don't know. I don't know who all is familiar with Diablo, but if you are.
The vendor, I don't know about Diablo having this vendor, but if it's anything like all the other games that are out there right now, this is like a Zur or a Barracuteer for those of you who play Warframe, or I think they have the Golden or something is an ESO. They've got 2 vendors that come every 2 weeks or 3 weeks or something, and they bring stuff for that week, and it changes every time they come. It's only for the weekend, so that'll be interesting if they add in that too, because then you actually have to plan what you're gonna do.
It's worth mentioning also that these set bonuses and these new ways that you can modify through your gear, how your gameplay is actually utilized and whatnot, they have said that anything that has anything to do with statistics or your ability to play better or worse, none of those items are going to be on the cartel market at all. The only way that they may in the future, and they aren't going to be launching it this way, at least they say so far, is that if they do include anything on the cartel market, it will be a purely cosmetic impact. So, and one of the things that I was actually even part of a conversation
or else you get pay to win issues, right? And
exactly,
they don't want that.
Exactly.
So.
But the other thing is, which was kind of interesting, that Musco, I was on a conversation with Musco, and I think one of the other people, it might have been Boyd, but I feel like it was someone else, is that one of the interesting cosmetic ways that you could do it is, hey, you're a fully dark side Jedi. I'd rather my pebble throw be lightning. Doesn't change the statistics of the game or how it plays, but suddenly you visually could be throwing lightning on the pub side. How awesome would that be?
Yes, because my shadow tank was dark side, and she very much resented that she still had to throw rocks. Okay, I'm just saying, she's very resentful.
I agree. That's why I joined in the conversation. I think it's a brilliant idea.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to pop
that stuff I do like.
What is that? Your heroic moment. Pop that, and then you get to use.
Okay, yeah, a little, but then the very next
I do that.
person,
I love
back to throwing pebbles.
Get your excuse the pun, rocks off.
I love running around on my guardian and dropping little strikes on people's heads,
Sorry, I made a terrible joke, and I think I've just
monster. So
I've just killed the. Dang it! I hate it when that. But yeah, I mean, so we've got some good things coming our way on paper, and I think I think it's going to really matter what their delivery is, whether this works or not. That's why my general episode.
One more thing too that does need to be stated is that the statistical effects on PvP bolster, when the expansion comes out, will have everybody bolstered to max level. So literally, gear has 0 value.
It's 258
wise.
I think we're going to be higher than 258.
Well, they have said it will be at the highest item rating, whatever that new item rating will be. Yeah. It will be 5 levels higher in all new gear. So it could easily be in the 300s for all.
So naked PvP, here we come, right?
Effectively, yeah. I mean, I've done it plenty in the past.
You do it now.
But
I just wonder
the new set bonuses, the amplifiers, and the tactical stuff, those will be affecting the PvP. So to your point, Elise, if they do it at least partially right, they could have the opportunity here to really create a Wild West environment.
I hope, but it depends on how they execute it, right? That's the
100%.
That's the underlying issue, and I do not want it to be that you I
The
don't want
best
it
way
to
to execute is
be.
they've got to have enough variance. If there isn't enough variety, then there will always be somebody who says, "Well, that one's the best because those other four are trash." You know,
Right.
you
That's
need
what
like
they say
dozens.
about
Or
Sorks all
you
the time.
have
Why
to
do you
go
play Sork
raid
when you
in
play Sin? Because
PvE.
Sorks are trash. And I'm like,
DPS sword gets a lot of flack.
oh,
Because
you
lightning
have no
spec.
idea. Well, and the way they
You
do
have
madness
to
is stupid.
They were OP for
PvE.
2 years. Boo hoo.
Or that you have to PvE to PvP. I don't like that being mandatory, and I think that's
I
why that
agree
whole
with that
discussion
all the way.
about that's been all over the forums and all over Twitter about people talking about we need to bring back experience as a stat. It comes from
Expertise,
because you
yes.
should,
Mhm.
or yeah,
Expertise.
you shouldn't have to PvE to PvP if you don't care about the PvE. It's one thing if you like doing both, but it's a whole
Yeah.
other if you don't want.
Don't even
to
bring back expertise, because expertise is a gating stat, and you have to get your whole set before you're finally useful. Just say this is a PvP set of gear and have PvP on there. This is a PvE set of gear, have PvE on there. And if you wear this gear set in the wrong place, you get 0 DPS, you get 0 heals, you get, and trust me, people will figure it out.
That's why I like what they're doing, because for all intents and purposes, you can go in naked. Your gear, if the bolster is in effect at highest, if bolster is in effect at the highest item rating, then literally nothing that you wear, regardless how much PvE you play, is actually going to give you an advantage. It's always the problem has always been built around the fact that they have tried to do it like 5 levels below whatever the current highest is, and then people figured out ways to game that so that multiplicative applications of lower gear came up with funky ratings. But if no rating matters, then gear, you don't need expertise, because no matter how much gear someone else has, it doesn't matter. Now, actually, still though, to Elise's point, she is correct. PvPers better still have the fullest opportunity to gather whatever tacticals, set bonuses, or amplifiers are available without ever needing to play PvE, and vice versa. No one should be forced into playing a game the way that they don't want to, and because it gives them some advantage in the gameplay they do want to play.
You're right. Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think that's a good way to wrap the conversation up. There's a lot coming, and there's a lot of ways to get this wrong. I think I sure hope, like the rest of you do, that they've thought their way through all of this stuff. Let's get into some announcements real quick. Just make sure I throw this out there. I want to say congratulations to Max and Seema on the SWTOR Escape podcast. They're the latest to be featured for the community content creators on the website. So by all means, go check out the interview with them or that. The next Cantina date has been announced, July 20th, 7 p.m. Pacific in San Diego. This one will be associated with San Diego Comic-Con. I expect Elise to be there. And probably...
I assume, Redna, you're going too, yes?
San Diego?
I'm still planning to. It just depends on if I start making money.
Yes, sometimes that can get in the way as well. I hear it. So, are we going to get our Pucked people back out there? Elise, is it a Pucked reunion?
Oh yeah, it's Pucked 4. Is that right?
Pucked 4?
Yes, I believe that's what the T-shirt says.
That's cool.
So I would rather have Marshall actually.
So that's passionately casual, usual. Who's the C? Are we the C council? Who's the T?
Yes.
Yes. I believe.
Technically, it's a trap because we have not folded the show entirely. We just haven't recorded any.
Yeah. So anyway, everybody's supposed to be represented. That's where those letters come from. In case anybody was wondering.
I would. We can either retweet or include in the things. I'm not sure if Marshall has officially announced Pucked yet in the day and time, so I would rather not say that at this time until I can double check and see whatever.
Yeah,
but
so
we can put that information out once it's officially done, or if it is, we can include it in the.
Well, I have some expectations I want met. Dang it, Pucked 4.0. I'm gonna be so mad if it doesn't happen because I love hearing your guys' stories. I'm of course kidding. I would love for you guys to get together.
Changes. I'm not in charge of changes, so
no pressure. But I love when you guys get together and the pictures and hearing the story. The only other thing I want to make sure we announce out there is the calendar things. There's a lot going on this month as well. Tomorrow is a big time with the server reset. We are ending Dantooine Incursion and Double XP. but we are beginning the SWTOR nightlife event and the Relics of the Gree. Relics of the Gree will only go for 1 week, so it ends with the server reset on the 25th. But SWTOR will go all the way to the end of July, so the July 30th will be when that thing turns off. So apparently there's supposed to be some new rewards with SWTOR nightlife this year. We'll see. It's going to be a lot of gambling. There's basically their way to drain the economy of credits, I think. So I don't know. We'll see. I don't know if you guys are excited about SWTOR nightlife. I am not. Yes, it is.
Because I am currently preferred, and so stuff costs way too much money in the market when I only have 350 credits.
Yes.
And we didn't talk about the fact that
the
they
rest is in escrow.
supposedly are doing stuff about preferred players in the next expansion. I'm doing bunny ears because I'm going to believe it when I see it.
There you go, girl. That's what I'm talking about.
They said something about like doing something with the escrow, and I know I spammed the crap out of chat about bringing the passes back.
Yes,
and they said
please.
Supposedly they're supposed to be doing something. So there you go.
I have a friend who only wants to log in like once a month, and he's like, I'm not gonna help you. I'm not gonna pay $14.99 a month to log in like once a month and do a raid with you. Sorry. I'm like, well, rip.
Yes,
very frustrating.
I would happily just do one every once in a while.
Magic, would you like to close us out?
Absolutely. We here at the Council SWTOR would like to say thank you. Thank you for everybody who showed up and talked to us today. We appreciate that. We appreciate everyone who downloads our episodes and chit-chats with us. It's fantastic. We thank you for that. We'd like to say thank you to our patrons, because you guys are fantastic and you make all the extra content worthwhile. While we do generally, like talking to each other, we do it for you. So we thank you, especially for the people who answer our straw poll. Thank you.
And that brings us to the end of the episode. The council is adjourned. If you'd like to reach us, you can email us at thecouncil@thecouncilswotor.com. Like our Facebook page at facebook.com/thecouncilswotor. You can find Elise on Twitter at abrown35, Magic Ace at the Magic Ace, Redna at R3DM4, and Sakari at I am Sakari. Also, don't forget our Patreon page at patreon.com/thecouncilswotor. Patrons can catch articles we're talking about and behind-the-scenes exclusive backstage access to our after-show chat. That's it for us this week, guys. I am altering the deal. Pray I don't alter it any further.
I understand.
You are on this council, but we do not grant you the rank of master.
What? How can you do this? This is outrageous. It's unfair. How can you be on the council and not be a master?
Take a seat, young Skywalker.
Forgive me, Master.